Right, welcome back. It appears to be more stable times for Cricket South Africa as they held their annual general meeting this past weekend. The organization is still emerging from years of internal turmoil and massive financial losses, while the effects of COVID-19 have also taken their toll. The governing body has a 5-year plan to turn things around. At executive level, that effort is led by CEO Pholetsi Moseki, who joins us now on Zoom. Pholetsi CEO, thank you so much for your time. The first question is, okay, so media wasn't at the AGM, but it appears to be happy at times, especially when you consider how last year's AGMs played themselves out.
No, good evening, Sorry, good evening to the listeners. Absolutely. We had quite a successful AGM, a nice, boring AGM, the way AGMs are supposed to be. Obviously didn't invite the media, but I don't think we had much challenges that we basically needed to broadcast to the world this time around. It was, as I said, quite a nice, boring AGM. We did declare that loss that of 198 million rands, which was a significant improvement on last year's loss. We're still facing massive challenges. COVID has been quite brutal to us. I know it has been brutal to everyone else, but I think for us as cricket, it was particularly brutal. We did highlight there, like, if you consider the last 2 years, COVID impact has been over 400 million rand on the organization. Hence, the challenges that we're dealing with.
And just talking about those financial losses, obviously this is a historic matter. I still remember, I think this project 654 from 2018, the following year, 2019, there were also losses, I think, of around 200 million. So there has been a loss that has happened over the years. But just for you, in terms of you taking over, where do you see things going and how do you plan to turn those losses around?
No, absolutely. Project 654 that you mentioned was actually started by my predecessors because they could already see the challenges that we'll face in the future. So we are still continuing what we call Project 654 now, but we are still continuing, on basically focusing on our sustainability project. So it is something that we basically take seriously, but it's not just cost cutting. It's also about diversifying revenue, getting different revenue streams comes into the organization, And as I said, none of us would have predicted the COVID impact that will basically befall the world, I think had it not been for that, we'd probably be far ahead the plans that basically were started, as I said, by my predecessors, But we are continuing, and there's been quite a lot of improvement, Despite the loss that we spoke about, as I said, it was a significant improvement from the previous year's loss. And even next year, we still plan to see how we can basically even cut some more, But ultimately with this, with any environment, there's so much you can cut. We also need to focus on basically growing our revenue and getting back, those income streams that we have lost.
Just in terms of that, cutting back and kind of seeing where you can generate your income, you've got a number of flagship events. You obviously have your 2 flagship teams, the Proteas, the men's and the women's teams. The men's are playing Australia soon. There's England coming up. There's the women's T20 World Cup, the Under-19 Women's World Cup coming up as well, before we even talk about the SA20. How important will it be for the national teams to do well in terms of helping you with that income generation?
Extremely important. We currently have the tagline of "It's the summer of cricket." We basically want to own the summer, and all these events that you mentioned, the Under-19 World Cup, Women's World Cup, and the Women's 20 World Cup, the bilateral tours as well. They're very, very important because they fit into this summer of cricket. We want to make South Africans excited about coming to the games again, and obviously South Africans want winning teams. So it's important that for the teams to do well. And basically what we can do as administrators is to really support them and give them the best opportunity to do well. And that's really what we're doing even now.
There's also, of course, the issue of broadcasting and sponsorship and how that fits into that income generation or revenue generation. But how much pressure are then the 2 teams, how much pressure are they under, rather, just to do well in terms of where they fit into the bigger Cricket SA picture?
I think it's important for all of us. Remember with the governance challenges we had, we lost a few sponsors. So we needed to fix that. And I think we've done quite well to do that. The team obviously now needs also to come to the party. The teams need to come to the party as well. But we're giving them all the support that they require. Like insofar as the men's team is concerned, we did lose quite a lot of players in the last 2 years or so. So I believe they've done quite well, as part of that rebuilding process. I know we're still quite disappointed with what happened in Australia like a few weeks ago, but on balance, they are showing quite positive signs. Regarding the women's team themselves, they're doing quite well. I think all of us believe that they will be able to retain the cup come February. The World Cup at home, yeah.
So no pressure then to the Proteas women's side ahead of that T20 World Cup next year. That was Cricket SA CEO Pholetsi Moseki following CSA's AGM this past weekend. That is where we leave your sport.